I'm in over my head. So this right here is my 1990 Mazda Miata. Not to get confused with Cousin George over here, this is my original Mazda Miata. It's got a 1.6, it's got a turbo, it's got 46,000 miles. I paid $1,100 for this car, way back when, before Miatas became absurd. Now, obviously, the car didn't look like this. It didn't have a big wing. It was a stock car. It was a barn find. There was mice everywhere. Everything is a little beat on it. This is one of the nicer Miatas I've ever seen, and I try and keep it that way, but not anymore. I am over it, and it will be drifting. I was really hoping to get my S13 finished. I really want to drive that, but in the meantime, I have all these goodies to get my Miata on the racetrack. So if you see here, this is my wannabe throttle mod list. You know how they like pull the car in and then they put all the cool stuff in front of it? This is my wannabe list. This is a lot of money in parts, don't get me wrong. At least for me, this is a lot of money in parts. Let's go down the list. We have an oil change. Now this is a welded diff. It's a 1/8 welded diff. The one that's in the car is a Torsen. Some people like drifting with Torsens. I've tried it and it's you go to clutch kick and it'll lock up great, but as soon as you lift off and then you go to reinitiate, it won't lock up both wheels, and it'll only do it if I got a passenger, and I don't know. I don't feel like dealing with it. I am used to welded diffs, so I'm going to swap this diff in. Now to go with this job, since I figured it's already half there, I might as well get a new clutch. This is a Super Miata puck clutch disc. I've heard a lot of good things about them. Right now, I have a Flying Miata Happy Meal kit in there, and it's something's wrong with it. I don't like it. It doesn't have a lot of miles on it, unfortunately, and it doesn't feel right. I'm not sure if it's my transmission or my clutch. So to take all the questions out of it, I have a transmission too. It's a lower mile 1/8 transmission. This transmission only has 45 or 46,000 miles on it, but it's something about it. I don't know. It like makes weird noises and you let off and it's like wow, 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 wow. I've also read online that Miatas don't exactly like lightweight flywheels. So I have a 1/8 OEM flywheel that I had resurfaced. It's hiding in here. And for the transmission, I have some Redline MT90. If you don't know about this stuff, you know. This is what you put in the car. Don't just get the random auto parts stuff. This is what you want. I have all new Moog suspension stuff. Wheel bearings for the front. I don't actually know what the hell. This is tie rods. Okay, tie rods. And ball joints. We have ball joints, tie rods, and wheel bearings. Reason I'm doing that, these are also 30 years old, so might as well refresh that. The back of the car has been refreshed. The front of the car has not. And I've been waiting for these. We've got the Destroy or Die extended lower control arms and also their knuckle. Do you need angle to drift a Miata? Absolutely not. Do I want it? You bet your ass I do. I just want to have angle, have it be dialed in. I've heard nothing but good things about the Destroy or Die kit, so I'm gonna give it a shot. Just a heads up, none of this stuff is sponsored either, so every opinion I give is gonna be the honest opinion. Also, have the extended brake lines. These are for the Willwood master cylinder because I've got big brakes. Moving on to the interior. So if you walk inside, you notice that my interior is relatively clean, and this Momo steering wheel is actually pretty sick. Now, my problem is I don't like how it feels. If you look here, you can see how it bulges out a little bit. And also, the width of the steering wheel is very, very thick. So I'm gonna swap that out for this 330 millimeter Nardi Personal that I've had. It's not in great shape, but I think it feels the best. It's perfectly circle. There's not little nubs in it, and it'll look pretty sick. Also, one of the most important mods you can do when drifting is a proper bucket seat. The feeling of being inside of a bucket seat, not getting tossed around inside of the car, very, very good. So in the seat department, these are authentic Brides. Everybody likes these. They're super expensive. These are just like base model, like fiberglass reinforced ones. They're not like carbon fiber or anything fancy. So I've got those, and I have one Takata harness. I ordered the other one from Manjuku Racing, but they are super, super slow. To pair with those, I've got some eBay side mount seat brackets. They look pretty quality. I saw really good reviews on these, so I'm gonna try these out. My only big worry is that I'm a short little fella, and I'm worried that I won't be close enough to the steering wheel. So needless to say, I have a lot to do. I have 4 days to do it, and I have to get an alignment from my buddy after all this before the event on Saturday. Today is Monday, and the day is nearly over. I gotta do a clutch, I gotta do a diff, I gotta swap the transmission, I gotta flush the transmission fluid, I gotta do an oil change, I gotta put these seats in, I gotta put the seat brackets in, I gotta swap the steering wheel, I gotta put on lug nuts, I gotta fucking do the angle kit, I got a new steering wheel hub, and I gotta do the brake lines, and I gotta bleed the brakes, and I gotta do all the suspension stuff in the front. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. As cool as it was to lay all my stuff out, first thing I gotta do is get all this shit out of the way, get this car on the lift. Not even on the first freaking thing and I did stuck. So rib nuts are kind of cool sometimes. This one is just spinning behind the fender. I haven't even got one side skirt off yet. It's been 20 minutes! Quick little tour of this pile of junk. This whole back half I refreshed at one point. It's got a torsion. We've got Chinese coilovers. We've got a big old hole in the frame rail here. Oh no. Anyway, we move our way forward and everything has been untouched. This whole subframe is disgusting. All the bushings are disgusting. Oh Jesus, scared the hell out of me. Just touched my head, I thought it was a bug. Why did I leave this on there? Oh yeah, and you know when you got holes in your frame rails, you just fucking attach the neon right to there, apparently. Ah, yeah. All right, this is a drift car. It's low miles, but it is gonna be a drift car. So, bear with me. And then up here, I have the oldest turbo setup in the world. It is a Beggy turbo kit for a Miata, which is basically flying Miata before they were flying Miata. Realistically, the diff is the most important thing to me right now. So for now, I'm going to drain the diff fluid and then start unhooking all the stuff. You've seen me drop a diff. If you watch this channel, you've seen me drop a few diffs. So I'm gonna take this all apart and I'll get back to you as soon as the diff is ready to come out. I went up top and I disconnected the shifter and everything up there. So this is good. Also unhooked the power plant frame bolts. I've got this jack holding up the transmission. Got a jack holding up the diff. The drive shaft is out. The diff is drained. The transmission's drained. The half shafts are disconnected. If you have a 1.8, this is awesome. I love the little half shaft Johns. These axles are a little harder to find than the single piece axles, but it makes dropping the diff so much easier when you have these. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the diff mount out. We've got a bolt there and a bolt there. I've already got these ones unhooked as well. So basically the only thing holding this diff in is the power plant frame being jammed up here. I just kind of pry this out and I gotta take those bolts out and then drop her down. And hopefully I don't drop it because I'm doing it myself and I'm using this thing. A lot easier when you have a buddy. So if you have a buddy, that helps. Forgot I put a brand new gas tank in here too. So this car is slowly becoming better. It's obviously not great. The frame rails, no bueno, but everything else on the car is shaping up. So if you're a forgetful fellow like me, making yourself one of these little diagrams really helps you out. You just know exactly where each transmission bell housing bolt goes because they're all different sizes and lengths more than half the time. So all you do is you just find it and you go and you poke it right through and then you have no questions later when you go to put it back together. I coaxed Jake into helping me get this transmission out and I got all the bell housing bolts out, which is good news bears. And then I cracked this last one and then a bunch of oil just came out onto the floor. So I'm gonna guess my rear main seal needs to get replaced too. Oh, don't do that, Jesus Christ.
wanted to see if more oil came out.
Yeah, no, we'll find out. So we're gonna pull this transmission out. Hopefully nothing's still attached. I think I got all the wiring and everything off. I am actually super curious on the condition of stuff inside of the bell housing, so we'll see how that goes. All right, so we have our flying Miata clutch disc in here that I don't like, along with the lightweight flywheel that everybody says not to get. And we were expecting a little bit more oil. Honestly, the rear main seal, when I did this, I didn't do it because it was only at 40K and it wasn't leaking. But now I'm gonna try and find one. So I'll be back when I pull the clutch off and then I'll show you what's going on. And we have an issue. So if you look at my flywheel here, this probably has about 5,000 miles on it. Not a lot of miles. I just didn't like how it felt. This side, you look, it's nice. It feels like it hasn't even been used on this side. And then you go over here, and it's like hot spot. It's like a cheetah print. Oh, man. How does that even happen? This thing has 40,000 miles. Maybe the flywheel was just not machined correctly? Is that possible? And that was causing my issue? Because the only reason I was replacing it is I would let go, and on decel, it was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, it's possible.
So I showed you the flywheel, and we don't know what's going on. I had Jake take the flywheel to his machine shop, and he did a little research, and it's kind of flat. So not sure what's happening. So in here, I'm pretty sure we have a leak in the oil pan here, which I'm not going to address right now. And also the rear main seal, due to time constraint, I don't think I'm gonna replace that either. It wasn't leaking that bad for being in here for 30 years. And also I'm worried that I'm gonna have to take this stuff back out again. I don't think it's the crank that's bent. Like, I'm not exactly sure what it could be. So for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean the flywheel up, clean this surface up, clean the bolts off, and I'm gonna pull a Rudnick and just make it happen. I'm gonna slap it all back together just because we have a time constraint that we have to make. So let me get cracking on the flywheel, get the flywheel mounted, then put my new clutch on. I'm gonna regret not doing the rear main seal. We've got 3 days, and then I gotta get in alignment, and then it's off to the track. All right, quick little update. We've got a welded diff back in, half-ass put together. We've got the power plant frame kind of put in place, the transmission bolted in a little bit, new clutch, OEM flywheel. We're just gonna ship it. I don't know what the heck the problem is, but I'm just gonna go for it. And if I hurt the engine, then I'll swap something cool into her. So a lot of buttoning up for now, and then I can start on some fun stuff like the angle kit and the interior. I think it'd be wise to put everything back together and then take it for a ride down the road and see how it feels. A lot of bolts to tighten. A lot of bolts. We have a welded diff. We have a different transmission because mine made weird noises. Hopefully this one doesn't. It could also be due to the flywheel situation. New diff, new transmission, new clutch, new flywheel. Put the exhaust back on, torqued down the, well not torqued, but I tightened axles, tightened the drive shaft, tightened the bell housing bolts. The slave is back on. I didn't disconnect that. I put fluid in the transmission and fluid in the diff. I don't think I touched anything else. It's only Tuesday. Started this on Monday night. Not too bad. Ran into my first problem. This shifter is over to the right. No, it doesn't seem like much of a problem, but like it should be more this way. And I noticed this wrinkle in the boot. And I was like, oh, it's just wrinkled in the boot. And then I look at it and the whole shifter is this way. So that means the transmission is not exactly straight. I found the issue. So basically, I don't want to talk like that. I loosened the power plant frame bolts here, and the power plant frame just kind of kicked itself this way. So there's a lot of tension kicking it that way. I normally leave the power plant frame attached to the diff, so that's not a problem. But this time I swapped the power plant frame onto this diff, and I tightened that up. So I tightened that up, and this has, I don't know if you can see, a lot of play side to side now. So I'm guessing I should just tighten these ones up first and then fasten down the back guys. So that's exactly what I was gonna do. And you could see that the shifter was physically that way before, and now it's just kind of centered. What the fuck is this? Don't worry about it. Hopefully everything will be good to go. I don't know if you're going to be able to pick up the difference on the camera, but yeah, it is sitting pretty center now, which is very good. It moves. That's a good sign. Just heard a little clunk though. I've never had a puck clutch either, so we'll see. Forgot what driving with a welded diff is like. Very loud, very obnoxious. I don't know how I'm gonna record this. Look at you guys, sitting in my little cup holder. Oh God. Oh, it's very clunky. This is a fucking race car now, dude. Still does the fucking thing. Something's not right with my engine. Oh, already I'm cruising. I mean, it's popping and farting, but that's not a big deal. Like, I'm shaking. It's like, oh, dud. Oh man, it didn't fix it. It's jiggling the hell out of me. I was hoping it was just a flywheel issue or something. Really have no idea now though, but if you're going straight, seems to be fine. Just on D-cell, something's funky. Not good. All right, well, back to the shop. I guess I'm gonna push onward and kiss this clutch goodbye. Win some, you lose some, everybody. So, car runs and drives. It didn't fix my issue though, so I just put a clutch in for pretty much no reason, which sucks, but it is what it is. I'm gonna keep moving forward, do the interior stuff, do the angle kit. I'm gonna send it. If I break something, I break something. I don't know. And on that note, I'm gonna go home and eat some dinner. That kind of sucks. All right, I'll see you another day. And we're back. Time to get the interior dialed in this Miata. So we've got bride seat, whatever you want to call them. I call them bride because obviously we're American, damn it. It's a bride seat. And we have one Takata harness, and supposedly Njuku is dropping off another Takata harness today. Also, I got these seat brackets. I sit in a Miata, and I'm a short guy, and I'm very close to the ceiling, so it'll give me a better seating position and a more comfortable drive. and it'll support the hell out of me when I'm sliding into walls and stuff. If you've never put in seats before, it's a nightmare. It doesn't seem like it, but getting all this stuff out is easy peasy squeezy. But for some reason, I've always had bad luck putting in new seats. The brackets are always too small or won't let me go up and down. Or it's gonna be a lot of putting in, taking out, putting in, taking out, and then kind of figuring out where exactly I want my seats to sit. First step is to remove the factory seats. And now the only downside of that is I have speakers inside of the seat, right in here, and I like them. I'm gonna miss it, damn it. I'm gonna miss it. So my first step is going to be to put the brackets into the car and just kind of loosely mount them. Now with these brackets right here, it is pushed as close as I possibly can get. It's hitting the trans tunnel, so this is kind of where this needs to go. It'd probably be better if this side was there, if I flip-flopped them, but I'm a shorty, so we're gonna see how this works. I'm gonna leave these loose, and now I'm gonna just try and plop the seat into its place. So I have a couple issues. This is the first time mounting the seat. I'm gonna have to modify these brackets, I believe. And if you're gonna put a seat in your car and you don't think you're gonna have to make modifications, I believe you are incorrect. So I have the seat in here. I'm a short little fella, but I got a little bit of room here. We got room here. But if you look, my legs are straight in the chair in relation to the steering wheel. I am to the left. The steering wheel is all the way over there. And I also don't have much room here. And my seat is almost touching the door. So I'm gonna have to make some changes. If you look here, the back hole kind of fits, and it has a little bit of articulation. The front hole is barely big enough, and it hits right back here. That is metal. Metal meat hammer. And after a little bit of whacking, look at all that room. I just moved it over about an inch. So yeah, I've got quite a bit of articulation now. And hopefully that puts me more that way. While I'm here, I'm gonna swap the steering wheel out really quick, just so I can feel exactly how it's gonna feel once I put everything together. So, all right, this already feels better. Like, just in the hand, I can actually grab onto it. It's thinner, which is nice. It's less girthy, if you will. This thing gotta go. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's gonna look so dumb, but I gotta get rid of it. It can't be here for drifties. All right, so this is immediately so much better. There's nothing I'm hitting here. Now the problem is it looks stupid. The rest of the car is gonna look so good, and then I got this giant mess of junk here and here. Now I have no way to close my door either, besides grabbing the top. All right. God knows how long this is gonna last, but I can grab it. Boom! Horsepower! So in my opinion, the seat is too straight up and down. I kind of want to give it a gangster lean. Right now, we are just one piece down, and look at the seat compared to the bracket. It's pretty parallel, so it's relatively flat. We're the highest we can go on the front, second highest on the rear, and I want to drop it down to this notch. But you see here, the seat is nearly touching the bracket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to notch it right there so the seat can drop down just a little bit more. And just like that, we are in the car, and this feels so much better. Not sure why, just that one notch made it feel so much better. Now I'm gonna try and get the passenger seat in its place. You don't need to see me do that. You already saw me mess around with the seat, so. Just like that, we have our seat in place. Kind of a pain in the ass to get these bolts back here. I figured I'd push the seat back as far as I could. There's minimal clearance here, but it's back as far as I can get it for any tall passengers. So for now, I'm gonna play with the harness. And if you've never played with a harness, it's relatively straightforward. The seatbelt part goes where the factory seatbelt goes. Basically, undo this, and we're gonna bolt one part there for the lap belt, one part there for the lap belt, and then around the harness bar, you basically loop it around, and then the excess you zip tie. And then I guess we can get rid of this. There's not really a point to having that. Do I have to take off the roll bar? Might be leaving this in there. And just like that, we got a dang race car, baby. Seats bolted in. I got my Takata harnesses all buttoned up, nice and tight, fit to my body. Gave the car a vacuum on this side and got my Nardi steering wheel in. Looking pretty fly. All right, we are all set on this side. So I just pulled it back to the farthest back setting so I can use the factory tie rod and tie rod end and everything. So don't have that much angle, but it's still a noticeable amount different. I'm having clearance issues with this upper control arm. When I go full lock, I was hitting the control arm back there. I tried a bunch of different wheels that I had kicking around. I took the wheels off of George too. None of those would work. I found one combination that works, and that is my wheels that were on here and then spacers that Headley had. I'm not sure how big they are, but it works good. The only problem I have is this. So I shall be cutting my bumper. It is what it is. I think I can make it happen. Obviously it'll sit more up when it's in there, but I gotta roll the fender and then cut here, and then I kind of eyeballed the side skirt. I think the side skirt will be okay. I mean, it's pretty damn close, but we will find out. I am not driving, so if I can't run side skirts, I won't. If I can't run a front bumper, I'll peel it off. We'll see. I'm definitely driving, that's for sure. So now I have to do this side, and I also need to do the brake lines, do extended brake lines, and then bleed the brakes. So I'm gonna start doing this. Don't need to show y'all. It'll be done in pretty Juan. Okay, we are good to grow on this side. Everything is bolted down. I'm going to cut along this edge as close as possible and see if it works. I really would rather fuck up the bumper than fuck up the wheels. Like, if the wheels hit the control arm, I'll be a little upset, but I mean, this is KBD and it's not gonna be perfect. I could always take the bumper off and run it without the bumper. These lower, the knuckles, they're supposed to make the ride height drop by 40 millimeters. So I adjusted the coilover height by 40 millimeters as well. So hopefully that's pretty close. I know I'm gonna have to roll my fenders. This one's already they're all fucked up anyway. This car's gonna be a race car, so I might as well get the hammer and whack the fenders. So lots to do still. I got a helper finally, so I'm gonna swap my brake lines, make a little bit of a mess, and then I will be pumping the brakes, get all the air out of this system. That was a terribly messy job because I don't have this teeny tiny little wrench and a wrench, so I just had to use a socket, and it made a mess everywhere. But front brakes are bled, and there was fluid in the reservoir still, so I don't believe I have to bleed the back brakes, which is sick. So brakes be braking. I didn't actually feel them yet. Oh yeah, dude. On off switch. I got the other harness to put in the passenger seat, so I'm gonna put that harness in, and then I can finally bolt down the passenger seat as well. Then I gotta cut this bumper. Hopefully I don't have to cut my side skirts, put everything back on, do an eyeball alignment, and then I get the real alignment done tomorrow. So still have quite a bit of stuff to do, but we're cracking along, and it's turning out pretty decent. Moment of truth, let's see if I can clear the bumper. I have no idea about the side skirts yet, but I know that the bumper doesn't clear. And last event we went to, Headley's bumper got ripped off and it got sucked underneath his car. And he has the destroyer die kit, so I would really prefer not to repeat that. And we still made it. So now about bitch. And snap the zip tie immediately. Shoot. I gotta get it on the ground and then look. It might just barely clear or it'll make it worse. One of the two. All right, nearly done. This thing looks so aggressive, dude. Like, the poke on the front, it's definitely a look. It's super aggressive. My fenders are gonna get ruined, like, for sure. This oil container's absolutely full, and I've run out of storage containers to put oil in. So if I knock this off, I'm stuck. Oh my God, it's like this far from the top. I did an oil change, and then I started it, and it had valve tick, and then immediately stopped. So definitely needed an oil change. Sounded pretty healthy. All right, let's see. What do we got? Oh, baby, it's so close. Oh, it touches. Damn. I think we're gonna send it. We're gonna ship it just like this. Oh, man. Kiss my shit goodbye. So it looks like it's touching right here. So I'm just gonna lob off this little section. I just got the other mounts. That one mount looks like absolute poopy doops, but at least it's got all its mounts. That one just does not sit flush after I fucked it. So that's okay. I'm gonna cut here on both sides, and hopefully the bumper is good to go. So I'm gonna tighten that down as well. Just like that. Little fellas outside. Look at them all together and working. I'm gonna take it for a test drive, and then I have to go get an alignment. So hopefully all is well in Miata land. All right, boys and girls, went on a maiden voyage to go and get an alignment. It was pretty sketchy. The wheels are towed out pretty good in the front, so hopefully we can get the settings in kind of close to what I want. Also hearing some weird new noises. I know the diff is welded. Well, freaking Luffy's excited. That's good. Oh man, I'm nervous about tomorrow, but we'll see. Did a lot of work and hopefully it pays off. I'm back at the shop. I have one last sketchy thing to do. It's pretty sketchy. It is what it is, you know? My tie rods, they weren't long enough, so gotta do what you gotta do. It ain't going nowhere! Alright, like fucking water. Hell yeah, baby, we loaded up. We're ready to rock. We're ready to roll. Alright, everybody, started raining. We are loaded up. Truck's good to go. I got my snacks for tomorrow. I'm having my victory beer, and I'll see you in the morning. So we have made it to Thompson Speedway. I've got the car, past tech. I'm a little nervous. I'm worried about things breaking, and I'm also worried about sucking. But I think the most important thing is that I just have a little bit of fun. So I probably won't include too many clips of me driving, only because I just want to enjoy myself. I don't want to focus too much on getting clips or anything. Worked really hard this week, and hopefully it pays off. Last thing you saw me do was weld my tie rods, at least like tack them. So hopefully they hold. We will see.
Dennis is...
Oh man.
It's crazy because it's like literally pushing my shoulders and my hips together.
It might be better with the roof off though. At least you got a little headroom, you can poke out a little bit, you know? All right, boys and girls, the car did it. It's puked up its power steering fluid a few times. Not perfect, but oh my God. I have never done tandems that close before. I'll throw some clips up, and it's gonna look super far away because it was filmed at 0.5, but let me tell you, it was a little closer than I'm comfortable with. And the car did amazing, except for a few little hiccups here and there. So my perfectly nice fender is now big and stripped and shedding my tire, so that's cool. I don't know why it's so much lower on this side than it is on this side. This side didn't have a problem, so that's a ride height issue that I kind of didn't address. Either that or something got out of whack, but it's definitely lower on this side. I mean, I guess it's hard to tell because it rolled itself over, and my paint is coming off too, so that's freaking dope, I guess. And also, power steering puked out. That's nothing. That's not a big deal. And then lastly, I gotta bleed the clutch because it grinded a couple gears, and to be fair, I was on limiter for most of the day. But nonetheless, for a 4-day build, honestly, I couldn't be happier. I wasn't expecting a Miata to drift as good as it did. Everything I've heard about Miatas is they're snappy, they're hard to drive, but this thing handled phenomenally, and I'm super, super happy to keep driving it. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe. Bye, everybody.